For the last 3 weeks, I went from my semi-automatic espresso machine to this all-in-one portable heating espresso maker on the go. This costs at the time of review, and this costs at the time of review. I've taken down a lot of notes to answer this one question of, can this portable all-in-one heating espresso maker on the go actually make decent espresso? And is it convenient and easy to use? Yes-ish, with some caveats. Some important context is that I'm evaluating this as a on-the-go espresso maker, not as a daily driver for at home, because it's battery powered, and you'd be better off using something that's plugged in for at-home use for the long term. Can it make espresso? How easy is it to use? What are the limitations, if any? And does this deserve a spot in your coffee setup? If you're new here, I'm Jess, and this is Gadgets Gear Coffee, where I review tech, cycling, coffee, and all the gear that connects them. I do in-depth, real-use reviews of well-designed gear that makes everyday life a little bit better. I'm trying to reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a lofty goal, but hopefully you can help make that happen. So if you aren't subscribed already, subscribe, and you might discover some really cool items along the way. If you looked up coffee gear, you've probably come across IKAPE, I-K-A-P-E. I actually don't know how to pronounce this name. Based on the acronym, I Keep a Perfect Espresso. It's a brand that focuses on practicality. It's made by a group of young coffee enthusiasts. This video is partially sponsored, but the brand has no say whatsoever or input in my review because I only ever work with brands that value and trust the way that I do reviews. IKAPE has been on my radar for a while for their accessories, did reach out to me to review the K2 Pro, and I've had a couple of these portable espresso makers on the go come across my table. I even did a review of one of them that wasn't an electric one. It was a manual pump. The reason I did say yes to this one is because it piqued my interest for a few things, like the 58mm portafilter basket, good battery life, and a lot of the other claims that they made, and which we're going to put through the test. Flat white is my drink of choice with 3 to 5 grams of maple syrup. Having an espresso maker on the go when I'm traveling is very appealing to me. And at the time of review, this costs this much. Compared to other portable espresso makers on the market that are similar, for its features and capabilities, the IKAPE K2 Pro is well priced and great value. They told me that for the USA, there's no extra tariffs, that the price that you see on the website is what you pay. You can check the latest prices with the affiliate link in the description. I do have a great exclusive discount code. If you do end up buying it, especially if this review helped you, clicking through those links gives me a little bit of a kickback at no extra cost to you, so that helps to support the channel so I can continue buying gear and continue making this free content. And you get to save a little bit of money. Please come back and share your experience or any tips and tricks that you found along the way in the comments. That way it could be helpful for other people that are deciding if this is good for them or not. This is the actual espresso maker. You get a little cup at the end. Here we have the 58mm portafilter basket, shower screen. This is removable if ever you need to clean it. This is actually a 58.5-ish millimeter portafilter basket. I also verified it with my caliper. You get a tamper with ripple base. Tamper is self-leveling. This is a 58.35 millimeter. It's a very good tight fit. I don't have any untamped weird rings that occur. You also get a shower screen, which is pretty good quality, 6 millimeters, cleaning brush, a magnetic dosing ring that sits on the outside of the portafilter, so you don't get any odd rings. They did send me a replacement unit, and the replacement unit was okay, but this first unit that I got, the magnets on some parts actually stuck out a little bit. Something happened in QC that got missed, and that caused the dosing ring to not sit flush on the edge of the portafilter basket and created a little bit of a mess at times when I was WDTing. You also get a scoop. This is not a good WDT tool. It's too thick, it's one needle, it's not very flexible. You're gonna probably end up creating more channeling in your puck during puck prep. I really like their WDT tool, but this is rather large. If you're using this espresso maker, you're probably using this on the go, and so this wouldn't make sense. Instead, what I would suggest is having a little WDT tool that you could easily pack up with this with thin needles. I'll link something in the description. You also get this little velvet baggie. It's a little bit of a tight fit with this baggie, and it's really nice, but you can't fit all your accessories. You would need to still carry these two items with you. Another handy accessory that's included is this stand. It's very well built, full metal construction. This is very convenient just to be able to hold the device well in place while you're brewing so that you can see your extraction versus having it in the cup. You can't really see when it's all closed up all in one like this, you will not be able to measure out your yield. It does, however, require some assembly and disassembly, so it's not the most convenient to bring on a trip, for example, but I'm sure you can easily pack this. You absolutely need a coffee scale. This is the BOOKOO Mini THEMIS coffee scale. It fits under here very well, even with the cup, because you will need to weigh your dose and your yield. But you don't need anything this fancy because this has flow rate and Bluetooth functions, and you can pair it with the espresso monitor. So this may be overkill for what you need for this. So I will link another small coffee scale in the description that is a more basic coffee scale that would be plenty enough for this and would keep costs down. Another reason that I wanted this is because I find it's very well built. There is some plastic on the outside, but everything on the inside, everything that touches a hot water is food grade, either silicone or stainless steel. I'm personally trying to reduce my plastic with all the microplastics happening, especially when it comes to contact with food or water that is hot. There's no plastic in this except for this cup. It's food certified in the EU, the US, Korea, Japan, and you can take it on planes because it fits under the aviation limit of 100 watt-hour at 49.95 watt-hour. So next time I'm on a plane, and if I have the room in my luggage, I'm gonna bring this so that I can make espresso from my economy chair. Just be very extra, because why wouldn't I do that? Also, I don't like the coffee on the plane, so I would make fresh espresso instead. This does come with an app. The app is confusingly called Happy Go on the Play Store. I imagine it would be the same on the Apple Store. That's where you would also be able to do firmware upgrades. Although they don't give you any type of log or information as to what those firmware upgrades are, they have added new features like flow control, which you can only access through the app. And you can choose between low, medium, high. Important to note that the flow speed only affects the pre-infusion stage. I verified this with IKAPE. I'm unclear if the flow speed currently works or not, and I didn't get an answer in time for this video. The product page says it's under development. I don't know if their website is up to date. When I tested with the BOOKOO THEMIS scale, which has flow rate, it didn't show me clear differences with the flow rate for pre-infusion, and my results kept moving around. I will update the description when I have an answer or when anything new pops up in my review. Like many of these coffee products, the app is missing a little bit of fine-tuning and polish, I find, in terms of the UX UI, but you can find everything that you need there pretty easily. On the app, we have the exact temperature and the preset temperatures. You can also, oh, look, I didn't even know you could do that. You can also adjust Celsius or Fahrenheit. You have heating and extraction. Oh, I don't want to start that. So you can actually trigger the extraction and heating through the app. Then we have extraction, heating. Heating only would be good if you want to preheat your device. It's only available on the app. You can only do heating and extraction or extraction through the physical button. Then we have person setting, which is where you would set all of your different temperatures, your flow, your pre-soak time, standstill time, extraction time. And you have to click save. So this is what I mean by the app not being the most like polished, is that the button is cut off in the case of my iPhone in terms of like it being responsive to my screen. You have more settings there, which you can rename the device if you would like. Product description is the instruction manual, which is good if you need that there. Health management is more how many times you've actually brewed with it. We have time preset schedule. If you are to use this, you have to set it every day. Okay, we have 20 grams of dark roast coffee. I went with the darkest coffee that I could find, barely oily. They basically say that you can brew any type of coffee, but not light. They go even up to medium light, but these things are not really standardized. They say it can go up to 20 bar pressure as well. I was not able to connect any type of like espresso pressure monitor onto this because it's not an E61 group head, because I do have one with the BOOKOO. So I can't really fully test that. And there have been a few times that I did end up, I think, choking the machine. That it's maybe because the grind was in fact too fine. Like many portable self-heating espresso machines, there is no pressure gauge. It would have been cool to have that on this device to make it even more pro. The portafilter basket is in here. You can actually pop this out of this little stand, the basket and the portafilter. Like this, I guess, would be the portafilter, this being the basket. All metal, very well built. Should have RDT'd beforehand. I will be using my WDT tool here just to get rid of any of the clumping, although I did get rid of most of the clumping with that shaking on the magic tumbler, and just helping to distribute it a little bit more. And then we're gonna use the tamper. It's just a simple push tamper. I like to do a little twist at the end. Definitely use the puck screen that comes with it. My experience with my Breville Dual Boiler with the exact same coffee, I can grind a little bit coarser than if you didn't use a puck screen. This will also help you with better distribution of the water flow. It'll also make cleanup a lot easier because if you don't have this, it gets pretty wet and soupy post extraction. There's also a max line here. So as long as you don't pass that line, you'll be okay. This is a double shot basket, somewhere between, I would say, 18 to 20 grams. There are 2 ways to brew with this. There's actually a little sticker that comes with it. So you can keep that sticker on if you want to remember. I'm the type of person that needs like tricks and rhymes and different things to remember things because I cannot rely on my short-term memory of any kind. The trick that I have, which you're free to use, is hold equals heat, HH, heat and extract. You double press, that's if you have another hot water source of some kind and you just want the device to extract and not heat. My trick for that is let's go. It's like, let's go. That's just what works for me. We're gonna go with the first brew method, which is kind of, I think, what a lot of people will want this device for, the IKAPE to heat and extract. I thought that this was a handle and I was like, that's a bizarre handle. This is a cover to probably let some steam escape. This is very easy to pull on and off, silicone cover. There are some water fill lines. I actually just end up filling to the max line. We'll stop the extraction manually once I reach the yield that I want. Because there were some times that I filled less water and then I didn't have enough water. So I prefer having more water and stopping it than not enough water and then messing up my extraction. Using the device is extremely simple. There is one button. When you short press it, it gives you the battery life remaining with the 4 dots. I would suggest that you do check it because it can run out of battery and not be able to extract, and it's not quick to charge. The battery on here is a 13,500 milliamp hour battery, which is really good. And they claim you can heat and extract on a full charge 6 to 8 times. In my experience, I was able to do it 5 times, and the 6th time it struggled and wasn't able to fully extract. Now, I say that their number is actually very accurate and a good ballpark because, from what I understand, they tested this at 50 millimeter water at 199 Fahrenheit, they're 93 Celsius, whereas I filled it up to the max line at 204 Fahrenheit. So I was heating more water at a higher temperature and got to 5, couldn't finish the 6th one. So had I lowered my parameters, less water, less heating, I think I would have been in that 6 to 8 ballpark. I shall do a classic 1:2 ratio. We have 20 grams in. I fill this to pretty much the top. I'm gonna try to aim for 40 grams out. So we're gonna hold and press. And as you do it, you get a little bit of an audible feedback. Takes about 3 minutes to heat up. You can see that there is a light that's on and the first dot is flashing because that's your progress bar as it goes all the way up. Even though we just did brew a couple minutes ago, it is very easy for me to manipulate and hold to the touch. So cleanup is very easy because it's not actually that hot. And see how clean it is to remove the puck. The settings that I have on here is the IKAPE is heating it at 200 Fahrenheit, which is a bit high for a dark roast, but I did that because even though it continues to heat the water and the water tank is somewhat stable at the temperature I set it at, I know that it's losing some of the heat as it's going down through the elements, touching air, touching different components. And so I went a little bit higher just to compensate. This is the Breville Dual Boiler at 195 Fahrenheit. On my DIFLUID, it's showing that I'm in the right place, pretty much close to a 1 to 2 extraction. But it doesn't really matter what the device says because the limitations of the DIFLUID TDS refractometer, which I also did a review on, by the way, if you are curious about this. If you are both under and over extracted, it'll take the average of the two and it'll show that as an average, you are actually, in fact, in the correct ballpark. How does it taste? On the IKAPE, on the Breville Dual Boiler. For this dark roast, they're honestly very close to each other. This is a really good shot. Flavor is very similar. The Breville Dual Boiler is slightly more rounded, slightly more even extraction. This is just slightly sweeter, but both actually really good. And if I were to throw this into a milk-based drink, it would be delicious. Another way to brew with this device is to use water off of a hot kettle directly into here at whatever temperature you set and double press it to start extracting without the IKAPE heating your water. You can make 400 cups with this. It'll still do the pre-infusion, the hold that you set in the app, and extract. So a really good way to conserve battery life, this is off of boiling, would be to put your hot water in there, long press. The IKAPE will maintain the water in the tank at the temperature that you set it at in the app. Because of the location of the thermometer in the K2 Pro, even though the boiling water in the water tank is beyond the set temperature, there's a slight delay in the K2 Pro thermometer's readings. Heat and extract mode doesn't extract right away, and water will start to cool a little bit. The water in pre-fusion should be hotter than the 204 Fahrenheit still. So that is a good way to conserve battery life, but still maintain some sort of heat stability in the water tank. If you want to have the best temperature stability, you're going to want to preheat the basket with some hot water running through it empty, or some other method to heat the basket before you make your coffee. But even then, it's not going to be the most precise or as consistent as on a bigger machine. Now, I got a thermometer just specifically so I could test the temperature. This is not an in-lab test of any kind. It's as accurate as I could make it do with at-home devices in an at-home setting. But it's just to show you that there is a temperature drop, because as the hot water is going through all the different parts of the IKAPE, it's going to lose heat. The temperature that touches the puck, and the temperature is going to move around, so it's a little harder to get exact in that sense because the entire device is not heated. That would be a huge upgrade if the entire device could heat up itself. The readings that I'm showing with this temperature right now is not to show accuracy in terms of like that is actually the temperature that is coming out of the shower screen. It's more to show that there is a drop, which makes sense because there's no preheating on this device. For sure, the readings that you're getting on the shower screen, it's not like in that 140, 150 Fahrenheit. That would be impossible. The coffee would be absolutely disgusting and undrinkable. But the whole point of this is just show that there is a temperature drop. I asked the IKAPE about this temperature drop. I'm gonna read it off so I don't mess anything up in terms of what they said. The app shows the most accurate data. The internal sensor is embedded directly against the heating element in the tank, measuring the water temperature at the source. External thermometers often show lower readings like 198 Fahrenheit because the heat is lost the moment water hits the air or room temperature cup. Because the coffee machine has a built-in temperature sensor chip that is directly embedded in the heating element or the inner wall of the water tank, the sensor is completely immersed in or in close contact with hot water. There is no intermediate medium, so it can synchronize the water temperature in real time. The sensor temperature equals the actual water temperature. Another thing that I was curious about is if you're using the IKAPE to heat and extract, does it continue to heat as it extracts? They told me that it does. I have brewed some lighter roasts with this, like more medium light roasts that are naturally processed with like brighter acidic flavors in a flat white, not as a straight espresso. In a flat white, it was quite good. It was lacking some of that punch and brightness and complexity and sweetness that I was getting out of a Breville Dual Boiler flat white. It was still pretty good. I just know that it could have been better because I had the exact same coffee with a different device. This tiny thing is not a fair comparison with this, and the price difference is not even comparable either. It's really hard to get the exact yield because there's no three-way solenoid valve or any way to release the pressure, that you need to immediately remove this when those extra drops go to cut the extraction, which can end up being a little bit messy. I have tested several different coffees over the last 3 weeks with this device. If the tasting notes are more on the chocolatey, nutty side or low altitude, it will be easier to extract. And coffees that are easier to extract, you're gonna have some pretty good shots. Of course, it depends on how picky you are. It will not be as good, as complex, as round, as sweet as on a semi-auto where you can really have good temperature stability throughout, preheat the device, that it has a three-way solenoid valve, that you can have good consistency. Coffees that are harder to extract are usually gonna have a lot more acidic, bright flavor notes in its description. with higher altitudes and lighter roasts, for example. Coffees that are more difficult to extract, that require a lot more precision, and that the room for error is a lot more narrow. This is not gonna be necessarily that good in my opinion, but that also depends on how picky you are. If you're drinking milk-based drinks, it's a lot more forgiving. I like to drink flat whites when I brewed this and some maple syrup. I was quite happy with it. Maybe something that is a blend that has, for example, some Brazilian low altitude and then a little bit of Ethiopian high altitude blend. Ethiopian naturals, natural being a little bit easier to extract than Ethiopian washed. Understanding the coffee bean itself and the density and the porosity and how all of the different variables affect the coffee bean in order to help dialing in is going to be quite important. I honestly think that this is currently the best portable on-the-go espresso maker on the market, and it's very capable of some tasty shots and drinks within its limitations. If IKAPE or any of these types of portable devices had a way to preheat the entire unit, but that would of course increase cost, technology, battery life, all of that, but that would just help with the temperature stability and take this type of thing up to the next level. I'm very grateful that these things exist and that the technology keeps pushing and that we're getting better and better. And this can make good espresso. It really depends on your palate and what kind of espresso that you like to drink. If you are somebody that likes to drink straight espresso, if you are coming from an espresso or a super auto, you're gonna be happy with this. I hope that this helped you in deciding if this is the right device for you or not. Is this something that I'm gonna be using? Yes, when I go to my sister's houses and I stay there for like a week at a time. They have super autos from Jura. I don't love the coffee that comes out of there. So I will bring my own device and bring my own coffee. Love to hear from you in the comments on any of your thoughts or your experience with this or any other device. If you would like to learn more about this coffee scale full review, you could check out that review right here. If you would like to see a full comprehensive list for puck prep espresso tools, you could check out that video right here. I do talk about that in that. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.